Japan thought they'd crippled America at Pearl Harbor, destroyed ships, killed thousands. But when their spies reported back, everything changed. America didn't surrender. America didn't retreat. America came back with twice as many warships, newer, faster, deadlier. The Japanese admirals went silent. Some panicked. Others realized Japan had just made history's biggest mistake. What exactly did the admiral say? How did Japan respond to America's industrial comeback? Why didn't Japan surrender when they saw this happening? And the most shocking part? Japan's military leadership had already calculated their odds and decided to fight anyway. The victory that wasn't. December 7th, 1941. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. They destroyed American ships, killed thousands of sailors. Japan's leaders felt proud. They thought America was finished. The Japanese admirals said America couldn't fight back. They said the war was won. Newspapers in Japan printed big headlines. People celebrated in the streets. Military leaders wore big smiles. But something strange happened. America didn't give up. America didn't surrender like Japan expected. Instead, President Roosevelt said something that changed everything. He said America would keep fighting. He said America would win. The Japanese High Command heard these words. They didn't believe them at first. They thought Roosevelt was just talking tough. What they didn't know was already happening in American factories. Factories running day and night. While Japan celebrated, America got to work. American factories started building ships, not just a few ships, hundreds of ships. Thousands of workers showed up for jobs. They worked in the morning, they worked at night. They worked on weekends too. Nobody took days off. Shipyards in California built destroyers. Shipyards in New York built battleships. Shipyards in other states built cruisers. Every single day, new ships hit the water. 1 ship, 2 ships, 10 ships, 20 ships. Every week brought more and more. The machines never stopped. The workers never rested. American families wanted to help. Women went to factories. Teenagers went to factories. Older men worked as much as they could. Everyone understood one thing. We need to build ships to win this war. Japanese spies started reporting back home. They sent messages about what they saw. The reports said something shocking. The numbers were almost impossible to believe. The shocking reports arrived. Japanese intelligence officers received the messages. They read about American ship production. At first, they thought the spies were wrong. They thought maybe the reports were confused. So they checked again. They got more reports. The numbers were even bigger than before. One spy reported seeing 20 new destroyers in 1 month. Another spy reported 30 new ships in the same time. Japanese admirals looked at these numbers on paper. Their faces went pale. One admiral started sweating. Another admiral stood up from his desk. He couldn't sit still. The head commander called an emergency meeting. All the top military leaders came to the room. They sat around a big table. Everyone was quiet, very quiet. Then the commander spoke. He shared the spy reports about America's shipbuilding. The room filled with shocked silence. Nobody expected this. Nobody planned for this. Japan's leaders realized something terrible. They had woken up a sleeping giant. The realization hits home. Japanese High Command started doing math. They counted ships. They counted weapons. They counted everything. The numbers told a story that scared them. America was building ships faster than Japan could destroy them. For every American ship Japan sank, America built 3 new ones. For every weapon Japan used, America made 5 more. One senior admiral looked at the numbers. His hand started shaking. He whispered to another officer, "This is impossible." But it wasn't impossible. It was really happening. American industry was unstoppable. American factories worked like machines. Nothing Japan did could slow them down. The generals understood the truth. Japan could win battles. Japan won at Pearl Harbor, but Japan couldn't win a long war against American factories. Japan didn't have enough workers. Japan didn't have enough materials. Japan couldn't build fast enough. An old admiral in the room spoke quietly. He said something everyone feared. "We have made a terrible mistake."
The words that changed everything. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto was one of Japan's greatest military leaders. He understood American power better than most. He had lived in America before the war. He knew American people. He knew American spirit. He knew American factories. After hearing the ship production reports, Yamamoto said famous words. His words are remembered to this day. He said, "I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant." These words meant something important. America was like a giant sleeping in bed. Japan threw something at the giant to hurt it, but instead of going back to sleep, the giant woke up. Now the giant was angry. The giant was getting stronger every single day. Yamamoto knew what this meant. He knew Japan was in serious trouble. He knew America's power was growing. He knew Japan couldn't stop it. Other officers in the room heard these words. Some agreed with Yamamoto. Others didn't want to believe it. But deep down, they all knew the truth. Japan had made a choice that couldn't be taken back. Panic in the military rooms. Fear spread through Japanese military headquarters. Officers started arguing. Some wanted to make peace with America. Others wanted to fight harder. Nobody agreed on what to do. The military leaders felt trapped. They started with an attack. They thought America would quit. But America didn't quit. Now America was building more ships than Japan could handle. Some generals wanted to attack more bases. They thought bigger attacks would stop America. Other generals said that was crazy. Bigger attacks would only make America angrier. The disagreement became very serious. Voices got loud. Officers pointed fingers at each other. Everyone blamed everyone else. The problem was simple but terrible. Japan started a war it couldn't win. Japan had strength. Japan had brave soldiers. But Japan didn't have factories like America. Japan didn't have endless materials. Japan couldn't keep up with American production. No matter what strategy they tried, the numbers didn't work. A young officer finally spoke the question everyone was thinking. How do we win against an enemy that builds faster than we can fight? The impossible choice. Japanese leadership had to face facts. They could surrender to America now, or they could keep fighting and lose later. Both choices were bad. Both choices meant defeat. Both choices meant shame. Surrender meant shame for Japan. Losing meant pain for Japan. Military leaders couldn't accept either answer, so they made a decision. They would keep fighting, even though the numbers were against them, even though American factories were stronger, even though victory looked impossible. They would fight anyway. This decision would cost Japan everything. It would cost thousands of lives. It would destroy Japanese cities. It would end with Japan's total defeat. But in that moment, the military leaders couldn't see that future. They only saw honor and duty. They refused to accept that America was too powerful. They refused to stop fighting. This stubbornness would define the rest of the war. The war went on for years longer. More ships were built. More battles were fought. More people died. Japan's leaders had seen the truth but refused to change course. The final truth they couldn't escape. 3 years later, the war ended. Japan lost everything. American ships ruled the ocean. American planes ruled the sky. American armies took over Japanese territory. The country that started with such confidence lay in ruins. Cities were destroyed. Millions of people died. The dream of a Japanese empire disappeared. Looking back, historians see what happened clearly. Japan made one terrible mistake. They attacked America without understanding American power. They didn't respect American factories. They didn't respect American determination. They thought one big attack would finish everything. They were completely wrong. If Japan's leaders had listened to Yamamoto that day in the military room, history might be different. If they had accepted the truth about American production, they could have made different choices. They could have negotiated peace. They could have limited damage to their country. But they didn't. They denied the reality in front of them. The story teaches us something important. Power isn't just about military strength. Power is about industry. Power is about production. Power is about never giving up. America had all of these things. Japan had courage, but not enough of everything else. One decision changed the course of history forever. And that's how American factories won World War II before the final battle was even fought. Japanese high command reaction to U.S. fleet strength shaped World War II Pacific history. The U.S. Navy Pacific Fleet's resurgence forced Japanese naval strategy adjustments after Pearl Harbor. Despite Isoroku Yamamoto's warnings about American naval power, Japan engaged in brutal Pacific naval battles. The Battle of Midway exposed Japanese military assessment failures. American fleet resurgence devastated Japanese views on American naval power. History proves underestimating industry and determination costs everything. One decision changed world history forever.